An important theme in the sociology of work is its absence, unemployment. The implications of unemployment, especially if it's long-term, extend far beyond the immediate question of personal income. It's linked to a range of other factors, including poor physical health and higher mortality rates, low self-esteem and lack of psychological well-being. The effects of unemployment, however, aren't spread evenly in society. Some sectors of society are more severely affected than others, extending problems of inequality both within metropolitan areas and between urban and rural areas. Young people are also much more likely to encounter barriers when looking for employment. These effects are felt even more strongly in particular social and cultural groups, and here I'll be focusing on newly arrived migrants from non-English speaking backgrounds. Such groups are susceptible to higher rates of unemployment more generally and are more likely to be employed on a part-time basis, generating higher levels of underemployment as well. There are several factors that contribute to higher unemployment and underemployment rates within migrant communities. Migrant groups, particularly newly arrived migrants, face several barriers to employment. Some of these relate to poor English language proficiency, including low English literacy. Other barriers are visa status, interrupted education, lack of local work experience and referees, insufficient support from employment services, including a lack of information about employment and career options, lack of confidence and limited awareness of the unemployment system and workplace culture. Difficulties in getting overseas qualifications recognised is also a long-standing and well-documented problem for migrants that affects their ability to obtain employment and on the suitability of the employment that they do find. Racism and discrimination is another significant issue, with social research in English-speaking countries, for example, attesting to the existence of discrimination against people from non-English-speaking migrant backgrounds in the labour market. Sometimes this is due to the attitudes of employers themselves, and at other times because of their perception of how customers or other employees will respond. While racism may not always be intentional, it has a negative impact on the job seeker in terms of employment opportunities, social interaction and life chances more generally. Additionally, people from emerging migrant communities, older and younger migrants, migrants in rural areas and migrants with a disability experience distinct disadvantages in gaining stable employment. Women often face gender-specific barriers to employment, including limited opportunities to gain driver's licenses, expectations of women as domestic caregivers, childcare and community responsibilities, and in some cases, a lack of prior employment history. Older migrants may be disproportionately affected by low English language or digital literacy levels, lack of recognition of overseas qualifications, insecure work situations, and lack of opportunities to gain additional training. Rural and regional areas frequently report the need for more culturally and linguistically appropriate employment services for migrant job seekers. The consequences of unemployment and underemployment will have a significant impact on a person's quality of life and physical and mental health. People who are unemployed often suffer a loss of confidence in their abilities, resulting in stress-related illnesses and depression. Unemployment can also have ripple effects onto the families and communities of the unemployed person, creating greater stress on families and contributing to conflict. Rising unemployment rates can lead to insecurity and anxiety amongst employed people who fear losing their own jobs, fears which are sometimes projected onto marginalised groups and exacerbate existing community tensions. Unemployment can also lead to the loss of valuable productive resources, which has implications for economic growth and the standard of living in the whole community. These effects of unemployment apply in distinct ways to migrant communities because of their already vulnerable social position. Participation in employment is one of the foundations of social inclusion, creating opportunities for independence and community belonging. For migrants, employment is connected not only to financial stability, but also to social cohesion and self-esteem, independence, greater knowledge of local systems, opportunities to develop English language skills, the ability to gain stable housing, and a greater sense of community belonging. The corollary is that unemployment has serious negative consequences for migrants, their families and their communities. Unemployment often leads to social isolation, exclusion, mental health issues, lower school retention rates, higher rates of incarceration and lower overall health outcomes, all of which undermine social cohesion. These effects are particularly worrying for members of new and emerging migrant communities who may find themselves unemployed for long periods immediately following their migration. This then leads to a sense of a lack of belonging and a lack of inclusion in their new society, which can be demoralising and contribute to poor mental health among new migrants. Some important concerns in the sociology of work then include both the broader impact of unemployment and underemployment, but also how their impact differs for different social and cultural groups, which in turn reveals important aspects of the structure and dynamics of society. In summary, the effects of unemployment are not evenly spread out throughout society, with some sectors of society more severely affected than others. Second, migrant groups, particularly newly arrived migrants, face several barriers to employment and have higher unemployment rates than the overall population. Third, people from emerging migrant communities, older and younger migrants, migrants living in rural areas and migrants with a disability experience distinct disadvantages in gaining stable employment. Fourth, unemployment has serious negative consequences for migrants, their families and their communities, often leading to social isolation, exclusion, mental health issues, lower school retention rates, higher rates of incarceration and lower overall health outcomes, all of which undermine social cohesion.